Hello and welcome to Revsportz. This is a post-match show, and joining me today is Snehasis. This is a show and not a live, and we apologize for that. But today was the second match between Welsh Fire and Southern Brave. Now, the first time they played the tournament, I remember. The first time they played a match in this tournament, I remember Snehasis. I was already counting on Welsh Fire to go out there and win. But then Lauren Bell came, bowled the last five balls, and then Welsh Fire lost that match. Today, once again, when Lauren Bell came into bowl, I was a little nervous. I still assumed that it would be Southern Braves who would win the match, but definitely things did not go their way. However, a lot of positives for Southern Braves, a lot of positive for Welsh Fire. But Snehashish, first things first. I had asked you in the pre-show that if you had to opt for a bowler to bowl the last five balls, you would choose Lauren Bell. You said that. Today, also, when she came in, irrespective of the result, your thoughts on the last five balls that she bowled?
I think it was I think it was okay. I will not say superb, but it was okay. See, I think the runs were very short, very laser. I think for her to defend. 8 runs of 5 balls, it's always tough. But if you see the fast ball, I think it was a good slower ball. She completely deceived Holland, I think, one on strike that time. But
Yes.
I think kudos to Holland. The way Niam Holland came out and struck those two timely boundaries. I think it was excellence. The first boundary came against Sophie Molyneux. It is not very easy to hit boundary at that stage against Sophie Molyneux. And then that boundary against Bale, I think it was much needed that time. And that too when the ultimate set batter, Heather Graham, was on the another end. But Niam Holland, a youngster, doing that job under that kind of a pressure, I think it was excellent to see. So I think Lauren Bell tried her best. Still, if you ask me, see, I think if it was like 12 or 15 runs she needed to defend, I think it was her job only. I think it was in her region to defend that thing. But 8 runs of 5 balls, I think anyway it was tough. But still, I will give kudos to someone like Niam Holland, the way she struck that boundary. Because what I think that because only of that boundary, I think they managed to pull that off. Otherwise, it
Very,
could have been trickier for them as well.
very true, very true. And also, Snehashish, I think the run out that was missed by Lizelle Lee, that
Oh
was
my God.
also very crucial. I mean, she was
Oh my God.
out. She was clearly out,
Lazily,
but then Lizelle
yeah,
Lee just missed it.
Lazily had a forgettable day behind the stumps. If you see the way the way she kept the wickets throughout this innings, I think she had a forgettable day. The ball
True.
was somehow was not gripping in her hands. She missed, I think, one or two stumping chances. Even luckily that didn't affect that much her team. But again, on that second last delivery, that huge run out, and it was complete run out. If Lizzie could have taken that clearly, it was a simple run out dismissal, and we could have seen Heather Graham getting out. But again, she misjudged, she didn't collect the ball properly, and again she missed that chance, a huge chance, and she was pissed off. If you see the way she reacted, she was visibly, frustrated. So a very forgettable day for her and very rare. You do not see that kind of a day from recently behind the stumps, but very rare. So yeah, very forgettable day for her and kind of, when you really want to defeat a team like Southern Brave and you really want to go part that line, I think a little bit of luck you also need. So I think that luck was on that side for Heather Graham and Wolvaardt today. So that is why they could have done the job.
True, Snehashish. And interestingly, when I was watching the match on the TV, the first time when Lizelle Lee, initially she did not, the ball did not,
Hmm.
stick to her gloves and she missed it. And then it was her gloves which initially put the bails off the wickets. And when I saw it, I thought it was a run out. And I was like, oh my God, is Welsh Fire going to lose today? But then when I saw the replay, I came to know that no, it was Lizelle Lee who missed the run out. And I was a little relieved. But Snehashish, next question to you. You keep on mentioning Heather Graham, you keep on mentioning Holland, but Grace Thompson, how good was she? Because what we have to keep in mind is that at one point the required run rate was very high, and Grace Thompson also, the lower order, the lower batting order played a huge role today. Your thoughts on that?
I think in the when we do that preview video, I think before the game, we talked about that as a unit they need to click. As a unit, you need all other players to chip in with significant contribution. Today, I think that thing happened. As you mentioned, I think when they lost their top order batters and informed batters like Georgia Wall very cheaply, I think they were reduced what 49 for 4. So after that, if you can see that important 21-run partnership between Captain Wareham, Georgia Wareham, and Heather Graham, then Grace Thompson, I think excellent. And she is a debutant. She just played her first 100 game. So on her debut, the way she, under pressure, the way she batted, an important 16 runs of 12 balls at that stage, that was a gold dust. So excellent cameo from her at that stage. And then obviously, as I mentioned, two timely boundaries from someone like Holland. I think they were brilliant as well. I think that is what Welsh Fire was missing, especially from the batting department. That as a unit you have to click. You cannot depend only one or two single batters that they will go out there, do their job, and they can guide us to the win. That cannot happen. So somehow that thing was not happening, but today that happened. All batters chipped in. Heather Graham, despite not getting that much of chances to face the ball at the back of the innings, I think Southern Brave did their job brilliantly. They ensured that Heather Graham do not get maximum number of balls because she was set. But still, the new batters handle the pressure and they come up with better results. That helped Welsh Fire. So I think kudos to them, and this is what you needed. For any team to do well in a tournament like 100, as a unit you have to click. Be it in the bowling department, be it in the batting department. So good for Welsh Fire. At the right time, they have done the correct job, and a big 4 points for them.
Also, Snehasis, credit has to be given to the team because they did it without Sophie Devine. They
Yes.
did it without their captain because we know the kind of impact Sophie Devine has on the team. And I remember you and I, we were having a conversation regarding this as well. Sophie Devine, she has been ruled out due to an injury. And then we have Georgia Wareham, who has stepped in as a replacement captain. But then, Snehasis, my next question to you, Georgia Wareham, did she impress you today on the field as a captain, especially the way she was managing the bowlers in the first innings?
I think it was good outing. I will not say, first captaincy outing for her for this team. She looked good enough, I will say. But again, I think with the ball, I think again she could have done a little more. I think in the preview video also I mentioned that I expect Georgia Wareham to do a little more with the ball, little more consistent. But with the bat again, I was expecting her to score a little bit more because if you clearly ask me, I was expecting her to do the job that Heather Graham, managed to put up. I was expecting her to do that job, but it's okay. I think for a captain to see that all other players stepping in and doing the job for the team, I think that's the best possible scenario for any captain to see. So very good outing for her. Playing, captaining the side for the first time, a big win, and it was a much needed one. Definitely, the team is going to miss someone like Sophie Devine. Sophie Devine is still there with the team. We saw that on television. She is still there with the team, but it's very unfortunate. And definitely, that's a big loss, no doubt about that. But still, a good start from them for them under someone like Georgia Wareham. And now let's see whether they can carry forward this momentum or not, because this is the right time to pick your form, and that's a good start for them with these 4 points. And now it's time to carry forward this momentum.
Also, Sneha, the bowling unit. When we talk about the bowling unit in general, I think they did a good job today because the way Welsh. I'm talking about Welsh Fire obviously because the way they were restricting Jemima and Wolvaardt. I mean, at one point, both these batters were struggling. Wolvaardt later on, ended up scoring runs, but then Jemima again could not strike. But we will get into that conversation. But before that, how well were the bowlers today? I mean, we saw the way they were restricting the batters of Southern Brave, especially, Sophia Smale, because we have to talk about her, we have to talk about Heather Graham, we have to talk about Revsportz. All these bowlers, they stood up for their team and, took crucial wickets. Even when the wickets were not being taken, they maintained proper line and length. And I was listening to the broadcasters, Snehasis, and they were talking about it, that there were patches on the pitch. So the
Mhm.
moment you utilize those patches, the ball, it starts gripping and the ball becomes a little low. So it was not an easy pitch to bat upon. But the bowlers also did a good job. Your comments?
See, obviously, I think it was favoring the bowlers, no doubt about that. I think the more variations you use, I think that was quite helpful for the bowlers. And the good thing that they understood that and they kind of stuck to their proper line and length. I think that was the main challenge for them on that wicket, that we have to stick with a proper line and length and try to restrict the opposition team under a below per score. And they did that. Every bowler, as you mentioned, Heather Graham, Smalley, and I think Revsportz was superb with the new ball, especially. I think that was a good decision from someone like Georgia Wareham as keeper to use Revsportz mostly in the power play overs with the new ball. I think she was getting that movement. She also mentioned that during the halftime. during the first innings, after the first innings, while talking to the broadcaster, that there was some movement. So I think Revsportz seemed good with the new ball. She bowled well, but overall as a unit, again, see, even today, even despite this loss, see Southern Brave bowlers again performed well with as a unit. Every bowler chipped in, and eventually they managed to take that game to the last ball, right? So again, another day, their bowlers did their job. It was the batting that maybe kind of failed to add those extra 10, 15 runs. That kind of proved to be pivotal in the end. Or maybe those, even if you think those run out missed chances and everything, Southern Brave could have done the job even today as well. So I think whenever you need to do well, the bowler as the bowling unit need to do well. So for Welsh Fire, that thing happened today, and I think Potts, I think Hera Graham and others, everyone chipped in, and that is what you need. So as a captain, I think for someone like Georgia Wareham, I think the message will be clear that this is the first time maybe the team has played as a unit, both with the bat and with the ball, and this thing needs to be continued to do well in the upcoming games.
Very true, Snehashish. And then, if we talk about Sophie Molyneux, I'm talking about Southern Braves now. It's just, just I have so many questions on my mind, just jumping from one player to another. But before that, initially thought of asking you about Freya Kemp, but then my mind just shifted to Sophie Molyneux. So you tell me, which one should I ask you first? Would you like to answer the question about Freya Kemp or Sophie Molyneux?
Anyone, your choice.
Okay, since we're talking about Welsh Fire, let us talk about Freya Kemp only. Uh, Snehashish, first two or three matches, first two matches she was run out, but she was,
Mm.
she looked in good touch. But then after that, do you feel that her form has dipped a little?
Yes, it has been a disappointing campaign, especially with the bat. There is no doubt about that. With the ball, also, I think she has not been utilized that much. I don't know what is the reason, but I think with the bat, the opportunity she got, especially at number three. So I think that is a huge opportunity for any batter. But somehow she is not grabbing those opportunities. So it is a kind of disappointing because we all know the quality Freya Kemp has, both with the bat and ball. For England, we have seen that. In that bilateral series before the T20 World Cup, we saw that over against someone like Arundhati Reddy completely changed the momentum of the game against India. Then in the World Cup, we saw with the ball, with the bat. In the final, we saw that important runs, back end of the innings from Freya Kemp for England. But unfortunately, in this 100 tournament so far, I think she has struggled. I don't know, maybe the pitch, maybe something, maybe running out of form, something like that. But all we can hope that maybe in the upcoming game she can do well. Because if she can come back into form, I think that will be an added boost for a team like Wells Fire. Because you need your top players to chip in, and Freya Kemp, no, undoubtedly is one of your top players. So let's see how she does. But as of now, things are not looking that good. Somehow it seems that Freya Kemp is struggling, and maybe she will struggle in the upcoming games as well. So let's see.
Also, Snehashish, now let us just shift our focus to Southern Brave. Sophie Molyneux. We have spoken about Sophie Molyneux. We've, had multiple conversations. We've hailed her as a captain. We've hailed her as a bowler, as an all-rounder. But what brings me to my question is that if you have noticed Sophie Molyneux so far in the tournament, do you feel that she has this habit of bowling full tosses? Because I have been noticing this has been going on for some time now. Today also I saw it. There was this one full toss that she bowled, and then the next ball she tried to bowl flatter and quicker, and it was a short ball, and then she was punished as well. The fact that the batters could not capitalize on the ball was something else. But Sophie Molyneux has been giving full tosses for some time now. Your thoughts on that, Snehashish, and the observations that you have made?
Yes, this thing I have also noticed, but I think it is just because that she is trying maybe that variation of pace. I think when you try to vary that pace, sometimes she might be losing that grip or something. That is why maybe the ball that she might be intending to bowl at a Yorker length is ending up as a full toss. But I think it's just one of the rare mistakes that is happening from her. So I'm not that much of concern if it is happening like in 20 balls if you're bowling 7 8 full tosses, then that is a concern. But in 2 3 games you're bowling only one or two full tosses, that too in the last 5 balls where you are mostly trying to bowl those accurate Yorkers. So it can happen with anyone, and it is not easy because sometimes you want to bowl that full paced Yorker deliveries, and sometimes those variations like slower Yorker deliveries. So while going for that variation, while going for that slower Yorker delivery, sometimes it happens with any bowlers that they ended up bowling, full tosses, low full tosses. Yes, I think Heather Graham missed a full toss today. I think that was a great opportunity for her, as you mentioned rightly. But yes, I have also observed that, but I am not that much of concern. I think if you see the overall contribution that she has made so far with the ball, I am saying only, I think she has been brilliant. Today, I think she was a little bit expensive. I think the bat has played well. But see, I think six game now in the tournament. If one game she is a little bit of expensive, I think that should not be a concern. It can happen with any one player, and it is highly expected the whole team, along with Sophie Molyneux, will make a grand comeback in the next game.
Very true. And Sophie Molyneux, we have been talking about her, but then you mentioned the word concern in your answer. And my mind just jumped to Laura Wolvaardt. Now, Snehashish, my question to you is very simple. We have spoken about her. We have spoken about the talent that she has and the kind of batter that she is. The fact that she looks a little stuck on the pitch. Everything is fine. But again, was the pitch very easy to bat on today? It wasn't. It was a difficult pitch. It was the balls, you needed a lot of patience. The balls were getting stuck. You needed a lot of patience and a lot of control to go out there and hit those shots. And I think Laura Wolvaardt, in spite, if you look at her strike rate or if you look at the scorecard, it might appear that she was slow. But then, do you think that she used her experience well? And this innings actually kind of proves that Laura Wolvaardt is who she is, or is it still a concern for you?
No, I will not say that this innings kind of says that what kind of a battle Laura Ulvat is. I think this is not her one of the best knocks, no doubt. There is no doubt that she can do better. But I think at this stage, I think these runs will help her to give her some confidence. Yes, the pitch was very tough, no doubt about that. It was very tough to bat on. It was good that she scored those runs. Otherwise, Southern Brave could have ended under 100. You never know. So things were not looking good. See, I think for Jemima as well. I think Jemima started well. I think she is batting with so much confidence right now. Irrespective of the pitch conditions, she is batting well from ball one. But again, on that pitch, if you continues to try to play your shots, at one stage you will definitely fail. And that is what happened with Jemima Rodriguez. So I think with someone like Laura Ulvat, I think she tried her best. Obviously, she looked very stuck within the crease. She was not being able to use her feet that much. And again, the ball was spinning as well. If you see the ball was spinning like, Sen Smalley and everyone, I think it was very difficult to bat on. But somehow she was there for majority of the innings, scored those important runs, and kind of helped her team. So I will not say that this can be a tournament, a fantastic knock that can help Laura Olbert to come back in form. But I think a little bit boost definitely. I think in a stage where she is struggling for runs, I think this 45, 48 will definitely help her. But still, I think she must be very frustrated that she couldn't add those extra 10, 15 runs despite batting for so many deliveries. I think she would love to do that. So I think considering the experience, considering the quality that she has, I think she will be a little bit frustrated. But no doubt that these runs will definitely help her in terms of confidence.
Yes, Niyashish. And when Jemima and Wolvaardt, when both of them were batting also, the rhythm was missing. Somewhere or the other, it just did not click. In usually when they bat together for DC, we've seen them earlier in this WPL also. They kind of had a rhythm. But this time it just looked something was not correct. Something just looked off.
Mostly because of Wolvaardt. I will not say about Jemima because Jemima looked very fluent. She was hitting those boundaries. She was finding those gaps as well. But it was Wolvaardt was struggling. I cannot remember the exact over. I think one over where for the first four deliveries, Wolvaardt couldn't find the gaps. Only picked up the single on the fourth delivery, and then Jemima got to bat in the last ball of that set. So I think that was the main issue in that partnership. Yes. There is no doubt that Laura Albert was trying to score those runs, but somehow she was struggling. And it can happen, and it happens with every batter that when things are not going into your way, I think one or two knocks you need this kind of where you might struggle, but you score those important runs to give you some confidence. You never know. These 48 runs might help, 48 or 47, whatever it is. I think this might help Laura Albert to come up with a better confidence level in the upcoming games, and that can help given it will be a better pitch. Let's see what kind of a pitch it will be in the next game. But this pitch was not easy. There is no doubt about that. But then the way, as you mentioned, the camaraderie that we have seen so far all over the years between someone like Jemima and Wolvaardt. It was expected that they will bat more freely and runs will come more fast and quickly. But still, I think more than Jemima, it was Wolvaardt who struggled, and that is why maybe we kind of missed that spark in that partnership.
True. Last question to you, Snehashish, before we end this show. Firstly, your thoughts on Izzy Wong and Coleman. I mean, we've spoken about Coleman earlier in the preview also, I think, and then in the other pre-match lives as well. But how good were both of them? Combined 5 wickets, Izzy Wong taking those 2 wickets, and then Coleman taking 3 wickets. Your thoughts, Snehashish?
I think very good. I think very good. I think this speaks that the the point that we always talk that Southern Brave bowlers bowl as a unit. You know, they do not depend someone like only Lauren Bell or Sophie Molyneux. One day Tilly Cotton Coleman can take those 3 wicket and see the names that she took, right? Georgia Hall, all the top batters of that top order, she took those important wickets. All top 3 wickets were belong to someone like Tilly Cotton Coleman. Then I think the delivery that bowled by Easy Ong to Ola Prendergast, I think it was brilliant. Top of the off stump, I think it was a very good ball, wicket to wicket.
The top
So
three were
yes,
dismissed by Coleman. The top three.
top three,
Georgia
yes. All top
Hall,
three
and Freya
wickets.
Kemp.
Yes,
Yeah, top
all
three
top three
wickets.
wickets were by Tilly Cotton Coleman, and then all the Prendergast were bowled by Easy Wong. I think that was a
Easy
very
Wong.
good delivery. So yes, so
Yes.
5 wickets
And then
between
Grace
them. I think
Thompson also. At that point, I think
yes,
Grace Thompson's
at that
wicket was
point of
also
time, yes, at
at that
that
point
point
of
of
time.
time, it was a very important breakthrough for them. So again, I think as a unit they bowled well, and that is what you need. I think for Sophie Molyneux as a captain, that is the biggest strength. That is the biggest positive for her that even if I am struggling, even if someone like Lauren Bell is struggling to get those wickets, we have other options who can go out there, bowl according to the plan, and they can give me those wickets. So that is the biggest strength that has been working for Sophie Molyneux and Southern Brave. So they can hope that all these positive things can continue for the rest of the tournament. But let's see. But overall, I think both Tilly Cotton Coleman and Izzy were good.
Okay. So on that note, we are closing today's show. We will be back once again tomorrow to discuss the next match. But till then, keep an eye on Rev Sports. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.